back to another week of Hello Ladies. I am one of your hosts, Sabrina Hannon.
I am Megan Manley.
And we're here to talk about all things wrestling in regards to WWE and AEW, because those are the only ones we cover, and sometimes New Japan. I can't believe I got that all out in one breath.
You're like Excalibur.
Yeah. Oh. I wanted to share, I did get some new wrestling paraphernalia when I had my surgery. I think, yeah, it was during Hell in a Smell. So I think so. I think I was high as a kite, is what I'm saying when I bought these. Maybe not. But they are the Adam Pacitti Buddies set that Cultaholic had. So,
Oh, God.
this is the one that sold it for me. This is the reason why I got it.
That's
that
amazing.
fact that I thought I had the full collection, and then they released these freaking things. Him as a wrestler.
That is incredible.
And
Oh,
this hat is hard enough. Like it's purely felt, but these edges are so rough. I feel like I could shank someone with it. Like, just like
oh my God, I love it.
oh yeah. So hopefully now I am done collecting these. As I said, like it was this guy. As soon as I saw this, I was like, God damn it, I have to get this. I just wanted this one, but they were sold as a 3-pack, which was very smart on Cultaholic's part.
Yeah.
Now I have those.
That is amazing.
Yes. Yeah.
The Pacitti dust.
Cheaty Dust is my favorite, yeah. Just so freaking weird. With this week, we had obviously Money in the Bank. Lots of things happened in WWE. Some stuff in AEW because it was only Rampage that we didn't get covered since we recorded on a Thursday. And I also this week, if you paid attention last week, I believe I had talked about how Orange Cassidy had started going live on Twitch and how I wasn't catching the streams. Well, I finally caught one yesterday, and it was an interesting experience between him screaming yelling at Chuck Taylor to get the laundry out of the washer because he records in the basement, to him having everyone prank Brandon Cutler by tweeting at him all at once, which was, what is your favorite Tim Hortons order, and does it come with a side of D&D?
Cute.
He also shared the best prank that's ever been pulled on him, and it was Eddie Kingston and somebody else who just took and like ripped his shirt off of his body one day. That was the prank. They just ripped his shirt right off his body.
Interesting.
Yep. And I was just like, or assault, depending on the context. But, I had asked in the chat, like, where did this happen? But he did not reply to that.
Aww.
So it could have been backstage, could have been in their bedroom. Who knows?
I gotta start trying to catch his stream. There's just, I know that you're not really a huge Twitch person. I am, and there's just so many streams that I watch regularly. Like some people like have like appointment television. Like that's how I am with like Twitch people. That it's hard to fit in new streamers. Like occasionally, like we've used to pop on Gargano, but we haven't really watched him in a while. Chugs, Adam Cole, like we'll watch him. If he's playing a game I really like we'll watch him. But I don't really watch a lot of wrestlers on Twitch. Like I watch my Twitch people on Twitch, and if there's nobody else on and I see like Adam Cole streaming, like maybe I'll throw that on for a little bit. Or if I like saw that I got a gift sub, I'm like, oh, okay, well I'll pop in because I got gift subbed or whatever. But I want to try to at least like catch one or two of Orange Cassidy's because I feel like that's probably a wild experience.
Yeah, because he has little segments. He's started it yesterday and is going to continue it of playing like weird YouTube things, his favorite YouTube videos, and it was a guy with a recorder playing along to 50 Cent and some other things. It was horrible, but he enjoys it. And then he ended his stream with I took a video of it. When he kept referring to his light ASMR, and I was like, what the hell is this going to be? So he pretended he was a bee and buzzed into the microphone for a solid 30 seconds while like occasionally laughing and saying, does this sound like a bee? And then turning it off.
Yeah, that was very funny. I was cracking up when I watched that video that you sent me, especially when he said, "Does it sound like a bee?" He's a fun human.
Yeah, yes, definitely. Also very relatable, him just yelling, get the laundry!
So on PTE, John Silver, I think it was, called Chuck by his real name. I forget what it is now, but they were doing it was it no, Trent was recording. Oh, who was it was Evil Uno and Chuck were competing.
Dustin.
What was that?
His real name's Dustin Lee Howard.
Yes, Dustin, that's it. They were doing like a #1 contendership thing for the BTE title, and he referred to him as Dustin at the end of it, and I was like, "Ooh, you called him by his real name."
Mm-hmm. They've slipped and like they've called others like Orange Cassidy, his real name is Jim. So they've called him that before because so his name's James, but he goes by Jim because I was like, who the hell is? And I was like, oh wait, yeah, that.
Yeah, that's not the first time that they've used like a real name on BT. Like I remember a while ago, Kenny, during one of the things, he was like knocking on somebody's door and he's going, "It's me. It's not Kenny. It's Tyson Smith." And I was like, "Oh my god, he used his real name." Like,
Yeah. I saw one too where it was at the airport and something had happened. They put over it. The Bucks weren't with Omega. He was somewhere else in the airport, and they heard over the loudspeaker like, "Can Tyson Smith please come to the baggage claim or whatever it was?" And they were like, "Ooh."
Speaking of BTE, just a quick thing I wanted to mention. Did you watch it this week?
I don't think I watched all of it.
So at the end of it, it was like one of their sad segments with the Bucks where the sad music was playing in the background, and they were talking about like how they were showing the segment from, I think it was Dynamite, where it was just the Bucks on a couch, like a backstage segment, talking about how like all their friends are gone, like Bobby Fish is gone, and Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole, and like they're all like it's just them, and
Oh yeah.
so it was, like you heard that in the background while like Matt was sitting in his backyard, and he pulled out his phone and he started texting to Hangman, and he was like saying something like I think it's time that we talk, and you're one of my best friends, and I miss you, and I love you, man. And he was sitting looking at it, and I'm going, send it, you coward. And then he deleted the whole thing, and I'm like, oh. So I guess they're starting to build up to a Hangman getting back involved with the Bucks thing again, which makes me hopeful that maybe Kenny's getting better, because I feel like they were starting to do that, and then Kenny got hurt, and then they kind of nixed it, and now it looks like they're starting it again. So maybe.
Let's hope. Yeah. But yeah, everyone is injured at this point. So
Yeah, Santana's going to be out 9 months to a year, a knee injury.
did you hear the other thing about Santana? He is not looking to renew his contract with AEW.
Oh yeah, yeah, he
Yeah.
wants to do a singles run.
Yeah. And I mean, there's some other stuff that's floating around too about how him and Ortiz don't really talk outside of like the arena anymore.
Oh wow.
But like that's all hearsay. It couldn't. I mean, I'm not too surprised to hear that he's not renewing, just because in segments and stuff, they for a while now they've been saying like Ortiz specifically, not saying Ortiz and Santana or Santana and Ortiz, like just including one of them, which I thought was a bit odd. I thought they might have been teasing like some sort of breakup, but I mean they are.
That sucks. They should have had a title run. They 100% should have been tag champs. Like, God, at least 2 years ago. Like they should have definitely had a run. Especially I think when like Inner Circle was at their peak. They should have had a title run then. It's a shame they never had one.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, as far as anything else with AEW, I mean, they had what do they call it? The double ring royal
Royal Rampage.
Royal Rampage. There we go. There was that, which so what's interesting about that match is what I found most interesting were people's entrances. Like the shit they did like as they were getting up to the ring versus because I had such a hard time paying attention to both rings. But it was interesting. Again, I enjoyed it, but I enjoyed most the entrances that people were doing. I don't know if that's just me. Like,
I know why they had to do it because they tape it the same night as Blood and Guts, so the two rings were already out there. I thought it was an interesting concept for like a battle royal. I've never seen a two-ring one like that before. There was definitely an A ring and a B ring. Like if you were looking at who was going into each ring, most of the major stars were in the ring closer to the ramp, and most of the secondary stars were in the like there was a couple big ones in the right ring, and most of the bigger names were in the left ring.
at one point, I thought that they were being separated by size. Because I looked over at one point and was just like all of these huge men in the ring farthest from the entrance. But I was like, oh wait, no, Keith Lee is in the one that's closest to the entrance, so that can't be it. I don't know how they decided who was going where. Oh, Megan? Hello? Hello? Decided who was going into what ring, but I mean it's definitely not something that they should do anytime that they don't have to.
Yeah, I agree. I'm also very surprised that Brody King was the winner. It makes it way too obvious that yes, Mox is gonna retain. Like they could have maybe made it be someone that you're like, oh, maybe they'll win.
That man murdered Darby Allin.
Yes. Yes.
Murdered him.
Yeah. I thought Rampage was a fun show. I mean, again, my boy Yoshihashi was in the match with the Bucks, which I thought that was a fun match. I love Yoshihashi. I think I just love saying his name. And he's just, I don't know, wholesome. I like him. I like that match. I like any match with the Bucks. I'm a simp for the Bucks there. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, they had a very good match. Nyla Rose and Toni Storm had a match where Thunder Rosa had to come down at the end because it was everyone beat up on Toni Storm time.
yeah.
So now there's Thunderstorm that is which I think is great.
Mm-hmm.
Like by no means should they be a tag team, but anytime that they are, Thunderstorm, yes.
Yeah, I don't mind like people throwing together occasionally for, a match against two people that like both of them have been feuding with. And I think Thunderstorm's a really cool name to call both of them.
Yeah, fits perfectly.
And I love Nyla Rose. I adore her personally and in the ring, and like her as a person, her as a character, her as a wrestler. I just wish that we got more of her. Like,
I 100% agree. She seems like she and I would be great friends. And I love my wrestlers like that, like the ones who are just decent human beings, it seems.
And she's so funny. Oh my God, her Twitter cracks me up. Like, no wonder on their little BT award, or I mean, yeah, were they BT awards? That she won like best Twitter like 2 years in a row or whatever it was. She's a cool lady. I like her a lot.
Yeah, I really like her as well. Um, and the only other, like, so I don't really have anything to say about SmackDown other than I don't think that there was a Vince McMahon. I don't
Oh,
think, what?
Sabrina, you're forgetting the thing that I went off on a tangent to you about for about a half hour straight.
Did he show up on
Oh,
SmackDown?
no. I'm talking about the models.
Oh, see, we had different reactions to that because I cackled.
I
Oh my God. I thought my abs hurt from laughing so much. My God, it was hysterical. Maximum male models, right? That's what it's called.
yeah. You're laughing, and I'm sitting there saying how I would sit through like Bailey, This Is Your Life or All the Day for an hour straight over ever having to see that again.
Oh God, I was dying, especially since Mace is so much taller than what are they calling him now? Marseille? No.
I can't even remember. I know it was like Masse for Mace, and then I can't even remember what the other dude's name is, right? Mansoor, right? That's the other one.
Francois?
I think it was something like that, yeah.
Yeah, there's such a height difference with them that it was just so everything. Oh my God. And whoever I died. I had Nam watch it and he also like cracked up. He was like, "This is wonderful."
I hate
I know you hate
Sabrina,
it.
I hated it with a passion. Oh my God, the hate that burned through me was ridiculous. I can't do it. I can't do it again. And they're gonna be on again this Friday, and I can't. I'm gonna change the channel. I can't do it.
I loved it. And commentary, Pat McAfee, like
Cole was burying it. Cole hated it, and Pat was like,
apparently Cole was trying not to laugh as well.
I think he was trying not to laugh at Pat because Pat was overselling it. And we all know that Pat thought it was ridiculous too, which is why he was very much overselling it. And then when they cut to them at the end of it, and Pat just kept going, and Cole is like horribly trying not to laugh, like, like they know it's stupid. Like, then they have to sit there and pretend like it's not.
I think it's hilarious. I really do. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm here for it. I love it. I love some hilarity when it's done right. And in my opinion, thus far, this is with my wrestling.
I like comedy and wrestling. This is not my taste. Like, this is just like, this is cringy to me. I can't do it again. It's like secondhand embarrassment. I was like covering my face. Like, I'm not as bad as Brian. Brian gets really bad secondhand embarrassment where he'll like bury himself under a blanket. I was watching this with my blanket slowly coming up more and more in my face because I was getting embarrassed for these people. I can't do it. It's actually painful for me to watch.
Uh, no, I understand the secondhand embarrassment though. When I had like, there are some episodes of New Girl that like physically hurt to watch. So when I get secondhand embarrassment, I do this. Like, I try to like, I don't know, wrap my body around my heart to protect it or something. Like, no.
Yeah, I don't get it as bad as some people. Like my one brother is real bad. His face will go beet red. Like he gets that like that much secondhand embarrassment. Brian will hide. Like he to this day refuses to watch Scott's Tots, that episode of The Office. Do you ever watch The Office?
I'm
Oh,
a bad Scrantoner.
anyone anyone who's watched that show, when they just heard Scott's Tots come out of my mouth, they probably cringed. It is the hardest episode to watch. So basically, I'll give you a little quick rundown of it. So Michael Scott, the main character, promised a group of elementary school kids when it was like a decade prior that if they stayed in school, kept their grades up, did well, that he would pay for all of their college. Michael Scott is a regional manager of a local paper company. He's not affording college for these kids. So then they were seniors for this episode, and they obviously were calling on Michael Scott to, pay for their college and invited them to school. And they had this whole song and dance routine for them, and they were wearing shirts that all said Scott's Tots on it. And he had to come clean that he couldn't afford to pay for their school. And he's like, so I got you all your very own laptop battery. Like, he just bought them all like laptop batteries. It's so painful. It's hard to watch. And Brian refuses. After the first time it aired, he will never watch it again. I start singing the Scott's Tot song to him, and he gets embarrassed just from that.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that sounds awful.
That's how I felt watching that segment. How anybody that has bad secondhand embarrassment feels when they are watching Scott's Tots. That is how that made me feel, and I can't do it again.
It did also, so I was just watching, I was like, wow, Mace is a very pretty man. Like, I can see why he was picked for this. Also, I laughed because as LA Knight, or what, I don't remember what he's called now, it might still be LA Knight.
Sorry?
Oh yeah, Dupree. Started going on about his calves and all that. I'm like, really? That's what we're talking about? We're just glancing over that man's amazing booty. Like, you just skip that entirely. Okay, sir. You went into details about every other part of his body.
I don't think I was listening as hard anymore because I was hiding and texting you with anger in my soul.
It was so funny because when that happened, as soon as I saw that it was going to be debuting, I was like, oh, this is what Megan was talking about. But as soon as it started happening, I was cackling so hard. I had tears, just tears.
No, we have definitely polar opposite reactions on that segment.
Yeah.
I mean,
it might have also been because I was expecting it to be so terrible that it made it hilarious. I was expecting, I don't know, Vince McMahon to do something Vince McMahon-esque, but no.
I would take spooky bullshit with the doll and the goo with Alexa. I would take Bailey, This Is Your Life. I would take Old Day. I think the only thing I wouldn't take over that is probably Triple H screwing a corpse. That's probably the only thing that might be worse.
Yeah. That was a bad day.
Yeah. God, imagine telling Steph, hey, honey, guess what I have to do at work today?
Guess what your father thought would be a great idea? You told him about that fight, didn't you? But, yeah. And then, of course, we had Money in the Bank. I thought, so the women's Money in the Bank opened it up, and this was, I think, probably when you looked at it, the strongest Money in the Bank roster for the women's division that they've had. There was no one that you looked at it. We all pretty much so knew who wasn't going to be getting it, but you didn't completely know because someone Raquel could have grabbed it or something.
I did not think that Liv stood a chance. I'm going to full out say it. I didn't think that she was winning that thing. Becky, Asuka, Alexa would have been my top three that I would have thought won it. So I was pleasantly surprised with this match.
Mm-hmm. So, and I mean, this goes deeper into it, but I guess Ronda Rousey had been demanding that she drop her belt to Liv Morgan.
Get out.
Yeah, that's what the reports are from backstage, that Ronda was adamant that she was dropping the belt to Liv. So that might have been exactly why Liv got it. I mean, if that's why, more power to literally everyone. But yeah, it was definitely the right call for Liv to win that. The match itself, I mean, it was a good match. Shotzi obviously had some serious issues throughout it and busted herself open at one point, nearly broke Alexa Bliss. But it seems like Alexa left that with no injuries, thankfully.
Yeah, I
Um,
thought she got like concussed or something. Because Alexa has been prone to concussions too. She has had a history of that happening to her. I was nervous for her, especially after she just came back again. Like I didn't want to see the poor girl get injured again, and I guess she's okay. I haven't heard anything, so
yeah, yeah, exactly. And I think what was most surprising is like Shotzi has been in War Games matches and she has done really well in them. So it's not like this style of match. I mean, yes, War Games is different than a ladder match, but there's still crazier matches, hardcore-ish that are happening. She was just off, and everyone has off nights, but I think one of the things that probably played into it is within this past year Shotzi lost both her father and her stepfather. So I think personally that was like maybe that threw her off her game a bit. But yeah, thankfully, other than Shotzi herself, it doesn't seem like anyone got injured by Shotzi. So
I don't think so. I just feel bad that she was bullied so badly that she deactivated her Twitter. Like
mhm.
I understand that people get passionate about wrestling. I understand people get passionate when someone excuse me, like almost injures other people, but people have off nights. We've seen Shotzi in the past. It's not like she is habitually dangerous.
Mhm.
I They're real human beings. Like they're more than just their character on TV. Like yeah, I bitch about Theory, like which I'm sure we'll get into later. But I would never attack him personally in real life. You know what I mean? Like his character, whatever. Like I'll say whatever. Like, oh, I can't stand your face, blah blah blah. Like I would never tweet at him like hate and awfulness. Like I don't like your character. You know what I mean? Like I don't
Yeah.
gonna say like I hate you as a human. I just don't understand. Like it's cool that social media brought like celebrities and like normal people together more like to interact, but then also it's been awful because people feel like because someone is a celebrity that you can say whatever you want to them, not realizing that they are also a human. Like
Yeah.
I people just need to knock it off. Like
Yeah. It's like, and also I will certainly say this that when women screw up in the ring, they get criticized 10 times harder than when a dude does. This is not the first time that we've seen a wrestler have an off night and almost injure someone or injure someone. But like Seth Rollins, for example, did not get nearly, I feel like, as much hate. I mean, he definitely got hate, but did not get as much where people are like, you should be fired and da 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 da, like personal attacks when like Finn Balor got injured, and that was Sting at Seth's hands or his foot. So, and I'm not saying that people should attack Seth Rollins. I'm just saying that there is an instance of someone who, also has a track record of not always injuring people. You have off nights. And what people have done to Shotzi is incredibly out of line.
it's cruel and unfair.
Yes, 100%.
I think like
And
the only guy that might have got it as bad as most women seem to is what's his face that almost killed Biggie. Um,
oh, yeah, Ridge Hollins.
yes, I think he's probably an exception because oh boy did he get a lot of hate. But I think that also is more of a testament to how beloved Big E is.
Yeah, and I mean that was if Big E's neck wasn't as thick as it is, Big E probably would be dead.
Probably.
Like there is a difference between those two injuries. One, Shotzi didn't cause any, and two, like, yeah, it was. And Ridge also did not deserve the hate that came flooding his way, because nobody else, like no one in the locker room gave him shit for it, because these things happen, you know.
It was an accident. It's not like you set out to injure your opponent. It's people, throw around the word fake, but it's not fake. Like they're still it's scripted. There's a difference between fake and scripted. Like, yeah, the winner is predetermined, but what they're doing and what they're putting their bodies through is definitely not fake.
Yeah.
And shit happens. Like when you're doing moves like that and throwing other human beings around, like one little tiny misstep or slip could injure somebody, and it can happen to anybody. Like,
yeah, it could happen to absolutely anybody.
Unless you're Nia Jax and you continually injure people. Like,
yeah, leave a bunch of like broken bodies behind you.
And then laugh about it. Like, I don't think I'd be as mad about it if she didn't like gloat about injuring people when she would, or make a joke out of it, or make light out of it. She was pretty shitty about injuring her coworkers.
Yeah. The only good thing that came out of that is that pretty much so made Becky's career when she like broke her nose.
That was still one of the coolest, most iconic moments in wrestling, period, was her up in that crowd, face blood. Like,
yeah.
That was
she
just
concussed too. She said like in interviews since, she was like, I really don't remember any of that.
Right.
Like, damn. But speaking of people being really shitty wrestlers, and to women specifically, it's not just like, don't misunderstand, like it's not just dudes doing this shit. Women contribute to it as well. And someone had tweeted at Rhea Ripley, Rhea Ripley should be abused. And Rhea responded with, hi, Demi here, the real life human inside Rhea Ripley. Just wanted to point out that wrestlers and any other form of entertainer is a real life human off screen. Don't wish harm on anyone. Don't wish for anyone to be buried. Don't wish for anyone to be fired. Fucking disgraceful. And yeah, you see this frequently. I've noticed it more so with female celebrities, like who have not done anything. It's not like there's allegations or something. Like Rhea Ripley is just doing her job. There is no reason to wish for her to be abused. And also in that context, you're also hoping that Buddy Matthews is an abuser. Like that's what you're implying.
Very
So,
disgusting.
yeah. And I mean, obviously I work at a domestic violence shelter, so this particularly like makes me want to hunt someone down and lecture them and force them to read and watch things, but I can't do that. I think it's against the Geneva Convention.
And Clockwork Orange them.
Yep. When I'm done, you will never say another mean thing to anyone.
I was just talking about. Like, I don't understand what compels someone to tweet or email or message stuff like that to other people who aren't harming anyone. Like, yeah, she may be playing a heel on TV. Okay, if you want to tweet at her, like, kayfabe, like, oh, I hope you lose. I hope Liv gets back at you. Like, fine, that's fine. But to actually tweet about them as a person, like the human, I just don't. I don't know. I don't. It doesn't compute in my brain because I can't ever imagine doing that. Like,
No, I can't either. Like, in general, I don't leave nasty comments on the internet. There's enough hate in the world, with the exception of when I'm angry and I'm telling, let's say, an owner of a company or one of my representatives. All right, Pat Toomey, one of the reasons I have Twitter is to harass that man. he is a scumbag, and I mean that as the human being.
I call what I call him. We were actually just talking about him last night, and I called him Pat Tooley.
Yeah, he gets so much hate mail from me. Like, I'm sure that they're like, if I ever was to go anywhere near him, I would automatically have a restraining order. But
I got a response back from him the one time that made me see red. It was
his automated ones that are basically like, thank you so much for your opinion. I'm not going to listen to it. Go fuck yourself.
It's basically, it was around the time that Kavanaugh was, that time that I contacted him, and oh boy, the response I got back, and I think I just responded back to him, okay, that's great, fuck you. And then I got put on his mailing list, and I'm like, oh no, please stop emailing me your shit. Take me off this list. No. Like, oh, thank you. Oh, I'm so glad he's gone. Oh, I'm so glad he's leaving. Oh my God.
Yep. He's just doing as much damage as he can on the way out. But other than like him and Vince McMahon, and like I have tweeted at Tony Khan, but it's never anything mean. It's always things like, hey, it would be really great if you gave the women some TV time. Like, it's shit like that. I'm not like, you're a terrible person and you should drink bleach. I also like the people, there's a level of confidence that some people have because, like, specifically Rhea Ripley gets some serious thirst tweets sent to her of like just people. When I first read the tweet that was sent to her, I thought someone was saying like Rhea Ripley should abuse me because I've definitely seen things like that tweeted at her.
Yeah.
Like, woof.
Yeah, like the I want her to step on me and shit like that. I've seen them too.
Oh yeah, lots of things with people wanting like folks to spit on them. Like,
I'm not here to kink shame. I'm just here to kink ask why.
Yeah, like like can you just imagine getting like a barrage of those tweets?
No, I couldn't. I wouldn't. I would laugh. I would laugh hysterically, to be honest. Like,
Yeah. Because I mean, I know I've said to you that like Damian Priest in his current form is very much so who I would have dated in high school. Like that is very much so my aesthetic, especially with the guy liner. But yeah, no, I wouldn't be tweeting shit at him.
I mean, I told you that Kevin Owens is probably what I would have been going after in high school. Mostly because of the attitude. That was more, chubby, bearded, smart ass was definitely my type. So, but I would not be tweeting weird shit at Kevin Owens either, especially because he's such a family person. Like, I would not, like, even if I was single, no.
I can't even imagine, like, I want to be sarcastic with you.
I want to come and hang out with you and your cat Dwight. Like,
that seems like fun.
Yeah, no, like, I can't, like, I love me some Kenny Omega. Like, I still wouldn't, like, even if, no, like, no. I don't,
I don't.
I don't have the balls for it, I think is what it is. Like, I don't even think I'd be able to tweet, like, hey, I liked your match. Like,
well, like, the thing is, like, especially someone like Rhea Ripley, she occasionally responds to those things. Like, that would just, like, devastate me, I think, because it's never like, yeah, sure thing. It's just like, yeah.
Bless him. I've even seen memes going around where people take, like, a screenshot of her pinning another woman.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen some of the? Oh my God, they're disgusting. The shit that people say on that. I'm like, oh man, like I need to go wash my eyes.
Yeah. Part of me, like, for the people that do that, I kind of want to start taking like pictures and screenshots of men pinning other men and sending it to those people specifically, because I guarantee they won't be reacting the same way.
I mean, I see more women commenting on the Rhea things than got like the Rhea pinning. Like, to be completely honest.
Well, the way, what is her name, Nikita Lyons does her pins. She's the one. She's in NXT, and
Um,
She's got a booty, and when she pins someone, she does like a split on top of them.
Ow.
Yeah. So, um, that shows up a lot apparently on the internet, as one might imagine.
Uh,
So, but yes, so Liv Morgan won Money in the Bank, and it was a wonderful moment for us all. There were some also great moments in that match. I thought Raquel did a lot of great work within. I really think this will serve to elevate her. Obviously Becky was phenomenal. Also, I love this green that Becky has like randomly throughout her hair. Her hair just looks better and better each week somehow. I'm sure all this color she's putting into it is going to make it all fall out, but you know, she has money, she can buy wigs.
I mean, not necessarily. I've been always told by hairdressers how like surprised they are by how healthy my hair is, considering I've been putting colors in it since I was like 16. I
But you're not adding colors to it almost like every other week, which is what Becky has been doing.
Not now. When I was younger,
Oh.
I mean, blonde to black to red to pink to blue to a greenish back to brown to like a red again. Like I used to constantly be changing the color of my hair, and
Were you a manic panic kind of gal?
it was an emo kid. Like
Oh yes, manic panic for the hair dye.
no, I used to go to Sally's and got like whatever I could afford. I had a black hair dye once that I did that wouldn't strip out of my hair. I went to a hairdresser and they put like flat, like straight out just peroxide on it, trying to bleach it out.
Mm-hmm.
And it stayed jet black, but my roots to like here were orange. So then they had to like try to match it with like a darker brown to kind of make the grow out not as bad. But if I look back at pictures from back then, you can definitely see like the black to the brown, and I refer to that as my Tommy two-tone period. And it was bad. Yeah, I went through a bad breakup, so I went and bought black hair dye and had jet black hair as I listened to Hawthorne Heights and cried in my car. Yeah, I've been through. I was definitely one of those emo kids with my very black eyeliner and very pale and the side things.
Yeah, I'm still very pale, so
Oh, same. I have a
yeah.
sunburn, but normally I'm pretty.
Yeah, this is me tan.
I don't. I like burn and then re-become pale again. I spent hours in the pool on the 4th. Not that I was celebrating. I just went over my parents and because I kept saying the 4th didn't exist this year.
I kept saying Happy Noodle the Pug birthday.
Basically, I was off and wanted to chill in the pool, and my parents came out. Like it was just literally me, my mom, my dad, and my aunt. We're just sitting in the backyard, and I put on sunblock before I got in the pool, but what I was doing was I was just kind of hanging in the pool and like put my arms up and had a couple beers and just talking to them while they were sitting out on the little patio thing. And I was in there for like 3.5 hours with the sun directly behind me. When I tell you that it was purple burnt, like not even just red, and I didn't even feel it. Like it didn't feel like I probably because it was just hot out, and I kept like dipping in every once in a while until my hair would get dry again. Then I dip back in,
Mm-hmm.
and then when I got out of the pool, my mother was like, "Oh my God, you're back!" And I got home, and I was getting undressed, and I happened to like catch my back in the mirror, and my reaction to my own self was, "Oh my God!" Like, and then the sun started going down, and that's when you start feeling it. And holy shit, am I itchy today? It's taking everything I have during us recording to not just sit here and like dig at my back because it's so bad.
Yeah. I'm someone who I apply sunscreen every hour on the hour when I'm in the sun because I will burn otherwise. I have to do it. There's this great picture. You know who these people are, but me, Des, Liz, and Kelly went to the beach a couple of years ago to the Jersey Shore, and we were just there for the day. And Des and I applied sunscreen every hour on the hour, whereas Liz and Kelly did not. Like they still put on, and we were all the same shade of ghost. And when we were leaving, Des and I both had like tans. Des tans really nicely. I was like 2 shades kind of darker than I normally am. Liz and Kelly were lobster red. Lobster red. And I was just like, dudes, we told you. Like, you saw us, we offered. And they're just like, it hurts. I was like, yeah, I'm sure it does. It was so hot that it was I think it was 100 degrees, literally. It was so hot that the sand hurt and it melted Des's shoes when we were walking.
Get out.
Yeah. So it was a hot, hot day.
We're going at the end of this month. Well, like one day of the 31st, and then like the first week of August, we'll be at the Jersey Shore. I got sun poisoning down there once when I was a teenager. I fell asleep under the umbrella, but as I slept and nobody woke me, the sun, moved, and the back of my legs were no longer in the shade. And the back, I'll never forget, the back of my thighs were like almost bubbled, like it was that bad.
Oh.
And I had the chills very badly that night. I was shaking. I think I vomited. Yeah, we got Chinese. I couldn't keep it down. It was one of the worst experiences of my life, and it was like the second day we were there for like a week-long trip. So it was like the whole rest of the week I was just in a lot of pain. Yeah, pale problems.
Yeah, that's awful.
It was the worst. Yeah, that was the worst one that ever happened to me. And like, no one thought to wake me up. Like, not like, hey Meg, you're half in the sun.
Spray you.
Yeah, spray something, wake me, get out of the sun. You're bubbling. Like,
you're done.
like, holy moly.
Oh, ouch. Yeah, I'm sorry for you on that one.
Yeah, it was bad. I was 16. It was a while ago. Like, but oh my god, like 20 years ago. Holy shit.
I always feel bad. Like, have you ever noticed when a wrestler has sunburn and that you see them going into the ropes and you're just like, oh, like you feel it on your skin?
Right? It's like, I can't imagine what that feels like. Wearing a bra hurts, like.
Yeah, let alone like, because like if you, I'm sure one of the reasons that they shave themselves because if they hit that rope, it's just gonna rip the hair off of them anyway.
Probably.
Like, you can wrap in as much tape as you want, but it's still going to do that.
Right.
So I like kicked my laptop stand, so the whole thing went. There's not an earthquake, but yes. So back to wrestling and not the tortures of summer for pale people. The Bianca Belair versus Carmella match, the thing that I want to talk about with that, I mean, Carmella is not the best wrestler in the world. She's not dangerous. She's very good at getting heat, I will say that. The match itself was fine. It was good. Like, I would probably give it like a C+, somewhere in there. But Corey Graves on the commentary made a reference that was just gold. What he said was, if Carmella wins tonight, we're going to celebrate here in Vegas. Maybe we'll renew our vows. Triple H gave me the name of a great chapel, and I was just like, oh, damn. I was like, pulling out that reference. Yes, sir.
I didn't see that, but I saw it on WTF when we watched that with Ross talking about it. That is very funny. I thought of a good comparison for Carmella. She's the Miz of the women's division.
The Miz?
Yeah, she's like the Miz of the women's division. She's not a great wrestler, but she gets a lot of heat. Like, she's way better on the mic by miles than she is in the ring, just like the Miz.
Yeah, they're both very, very entertaining. I would say that the Miz is a better wrestler than Carmella is, but that has a lot to do with she has that one move that I absolutely hate. I forget what it's called because I refuse to learn the name of it.
A silence.
No, the cone of silence doesn't bother me. No, it's the thing that Kelly did where Like you're spinning, like you have your legs around someone's head and they're the one doing the work spinning you around. You're like, it's not a finisher, it's not a move. I hate that thing. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. It makes no sense. Like I can't make that leap. No. Like I can make the leap with other things, not that. I never want to see that again. I get so angry whenever I see that.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I'm
Angry.
not a fan of it either.
Yeah, I can't even exactly say what it is. Just rage bubbles up inside of me. And I don't know what it is. I think it's also tied to my extreme dislike of Kelly, the character. I don't know what she's like as a human being, but I don't like her as a wrestler. And I use that term loosely with her.
I mean, you could just say diva. There's a stark difference between divas. I wasn't watching then, thankfully. Like I missed out on all of that would have made my blood boil.
Flames at the side of my face.
Yeah, I'm very glad. I feel like I missed a lot of good during like that ruthless aggression. Men's wrestling, like in the men's division, yeah. Like I missed like Orton at his peak and like Cena at his peak and you know, like Edge when he was like super over singles run. Like I missed all that stuff.
You missed a lot of AJ Lee then too, right? Or not all of her.
No, I started watching it in 2012. So I started watching pretty much right when AJ Lee was really starting to
Go up, yeah.
like be more than just like Daniel Bryan at the time, more than his little, which I always get a kick out of. Like that was like his girlfriend, like character wise, and then she ended up with like Punk, and you know they're all friends and whatnot. But yeah, I saw AJ Lee, like I saw her title runs, and she just missed where she should have been. She should have been with like Becky and Charlotte and Bayley and Sasha and Naomi and
You
like
can make the argument though that without her being there when she was, we might not have gotten to the Beckys and Charlottes. I just wish she had a longer run.
right. No, I mean she's definitely like one of the ones that it was not the Bellas who paved the way for the women's era like they try to pretend. It was not. They were a dying breed of diva that I'm glad was taken out back and put down. It was AJ. AJ is the one that even started the give divas a chance like hashtag. It was her. And they try to do their revisionist WWE history that they do, thinking that people are stupid and forget, and thinking it was all the Bella twins, which it was not. And I just wish that AJ would like stayed long enough to be part of that. Like she just missed it. Like there was that little bit of a crossover where like Paige came up and then like Charlotte and Becky and then AJ was gone. And
I also love that in the Wrestling with My Family movie, that AJ was played by Zelina. I love that. And I mean, I just love Queen Zelina in general. I think she's a very fun character. I wish she got more screen time, but you know, it's what it is.
are they dropping the Queen thing? Because I think that we don't need that anymore. We don't need the face. She can just be Zelina again. Let her go. Like let her speak. Let her wrestle. Just being herself because she's good at both.
Yeah, she is. So we also, of course, had Liv's cash in on Ronda Rousey at the end of the match with Natty. I mean, it was, again, like, it was not a bad match that Natty and Ronda had. There was some definite heel stuff that Ronda did, like when she put Natalya in the sharpshooter and then did the Shawn Michaels pose. Whoo! I was just like, oh shit, Natty can't tap now. Get to a rope, Missy. Get to a rope. Also, when Natty was coming down for her entrance, she gave away her cat ears as she always does to a kid. Even though she's a heel, she always does that. I don't think that she could not do it, honestly. Like, she can be the meanest person, like, on the mic that she wants to be and make all the, like, mean looks, but Natty is one of those people who I don't think she can really hide that she's a decent person under the heel persona.
I don't buy her as a heel ever. I can't buy her as a heel. She's just too
Beloved.
sweet. Like she it seems overly acting and fake when she's trying too hard to be mean because she's not really mean, that it comes off as like overacting because she's not mean. Like, I never buy her as a heel. I wish they would just stop making her like the big show of the women's division where it's heel face face heel face face. Like, she seems like she turns every other month. Just keep her a face. Like, just keep her as being a baby face. She's much better that way.
Yeah, Natty is not the best actress in the world, and I believe she is aware of that. But yeah, being a heel doesn't translate for her. She's just, what a little darling.
Right?
What a sweet pea of a human being. Like, she is trained most, like, we talk about, like, I mean, AJ doing a lot of the work, AJ Lee, but I mean, Natty was there too, and Natty has trained most of the women that we now see. Like, she's the one who trained Ronda Rousey. She trained Shayna Baszler. She trained and Shayna actually was friends, and Ronda were friends with Natty before they ever got signed to WWE, because Natty would go to their gym and train, which I also think that's interesting. That, I mean, that's not unusual for wrestlers to go to MMA gyms and things like that to train, especially on submissions and things like that. Brian does it as well. But yeah, she has trained so many people. She gives so much of her time to friggin' everyone. Like, my gosh, she is the workhorse by far of that division. Maybe of WWE in general, honestly.
And she always seems like she's like the first feud when a new champion happens. You ever notice that? Like, oh, there's a new champ. Okay, they're gonna feud with Natty for like a minute, and then they'll move on to their main major feud. Because I think Liv, right? Like, didn't Natty come down? Like, it always seems like Natty's like the first one that they go through before they start really going for, or sometimes the last person they go through. Like, she's
Yeah.
either the first or the last. Like,
Yeah, and she's someone on there who, like, I never am upset when I see Natty on my screen. Like, I know that it's going to be, she doesn't have bad matches. They're always at least decent. Um, and I very much so enjoy her as a human being. She's a cat mom too. So obviously with her cat ears and two paws and all of that. And I don't know, I think her and TJ have just been together since they were like kids. Like, what a little storied romance that they have. She's one of those people where it's just like, yes, you deserve all of the good things that you have, and I'm glad that you have them.
yeah, I like her. And she always does put on a solid match. Like, she's always a solid person to have in the ring. She like a ring general.
Mhm.
She's not overly flashy, but she still puts on good matches. Like, she's just a good wrestler.
Yeah, and it makes sense, like, with the lineage that she has. Um, but yeah, so when Liv came down, I think I'm so happy that they did this to us, that like, almost immediately Rhonda put her into that submission, because I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I started getting angry, and I think everyone did.
The
Like, we
crowd
were,
was booing.
yeah, are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? And then when like, they told that perfectly, because they made us believe that WWE was going to stick it to Liv and to the fans yet again. And then when they didn't, Nam's one friend was at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, and he said, like, like, it was deafening, this, like, when her music hit in there, and then when she won. And yeah, just such an emotional moment for everyone, absolutely everyone.
Yeah, I was happy for her. I'm glad that they finally put the belt on her
Hmm.
because it seemed like so many near misses that she almost had it or had a championship match or a contender match to like for a championship shot and always like just almost got it and then I hope that they give her a decent reign. Like I hope it's not just till SummerSlam.
Yeah, yeah. I would imagine that this is going to be a little bit of a longer one, and I love. So if you watched Raw and Liv came out and gave her speech and everything, where she was like so excited and like jumping in the, it's just so great because she very much so has, as a fan who like grew up watching wrestling, you can easily imagine yourself like if I was a wrestler who like this was my dream and I got that title, you can bet your ass that like I would be jumping up and down going wee with it, you know. She's so relatable and just so darling and so deserving of all of this. And I also love at the end of the match where her and Bianca Belair were teaming up, like after Liv gets the pin, you see Bianca's like welling up with tears and like whispers something into Liv's ear. And it's just such a sweet moment. And it makes me so happy that the women's locker room is such a positive place because I had when I saw Ruby Soho at um Comic Con, I had asked about that, and she had said absolutely, like everyone wants everyone else to succeed. Like this is it's both in WWE and AEW, like they're positive locker rooms, which is fantastic to hear after the shit that you always heard when we were growing up on both sides, not just the women's locker room, but also the men's, like just how awful it truly was. But I had somewhere else I was going with this, and I trailed off. Yes.
No, I agree. It definitely feels like it's more of a positive atmosphere backstage in both companies, like with the wrestlers. I know management's a different story in WWE, but as far as like the wrestlers all getting along, like you can even tell in like like the up up down down shit where they have their little tournaments and like the one what was it just the we only watched AJ and Seth's thing where they were playing the new WWE 2K
Mm-hmm.
game, and Brian put it on because he wanted to see AJ and Seth because AJ hates to lose,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a rematch from like a Madden one years ago that we watched where Seth beat him and AJ I think almost broke a controller, but he almost broke a controller again this time. But I forget what was said or what happened between like AJ and Seth when they were like doing their whatever. And like AJ, I think, got overly angry and did something. And you just saw like Becky and Shayna and Kofi and Woods and Liv and Miz and I think somebody else was back there, just lost it. Oh my God, they were dying laughing because like AJ's such a baby. He
Mm-hmm.
hates to lose in a video game. Like he loses in a match and he's shaking people's hand and whatever, like it's predetermined, so that's fine. But if he's losing legit, he like slammed down the controller and oh my God, he was ridiculous. And Seth was just like shit talking the whole time. And then you have Becky behind him, like, oh, it was if you get a chance, you need if you don't even watch the whole thing and just
Mm-hmm.
watch those two, that is completely worth it.
All right. Will do. Yeah. Um. The So I've seen some people get mad that like Rhonda hugged Liv after that she lost, and they were just like, "Oh, she should have been mad." Blah blah blah. I'm like, she's one. Rhonda is not a heel. I know no one likes that fact, but she is not a heel. And two, like Rhonda is like in real life friends with people who kicked like that she fought in UFC. Like that is a well-known fact. So why would she like as a babyface wrestler suddenly be aggressive towards someone who beat her in wrestling? So
I mean, maybe storyline wise, they're upset to see it, which I can kind of understand. Like someone just like Money in the Bank was always an underhanded way to win a belt. Like no matter who has it. I mean, you're purposely waiting for someone to be like
down and out.
yeah, like not expecting it or injured or exhausted or it like it's the ultimate opportunist way to win it. So I guess maybe like people I'm not mad about it, but I can understand why other people are like, okay, well this person waited until like your leg was killing you and took advantage of that. Why are you hugging them after they took your belt that way? I don't care, but I can understand the logic behind getting mad about it.
I sometimes, again, I think people just look for things to complain about.
I mean that too, but this is more. I think this is more of a legitimate complaint than some of the other complaints that you hear about. Like that, I can understand the logic behind. This person came and waited for you to be injured and like took advantage. Why I wouldn't want to hug somebody after that. I'd be like, fuck away from me. Like, congratulations, get the fuck away. Like, I don't want to hug you right now. Maybe later. So,
I mean, I think it was just another way of putting Liv over. I mean, Liv did not need it at that point, but for any of the Ronda Rousey fans, mostly children, who were just like, meh, seeing that would have, I think, been like Ronda's seal of approval. That's my guess as to why she did it, but
I can get why they did it, and I can also get why people didn't like it. Like, I could see both sides of it.
yeah. I will say, like, Liv winning that, like winning the whole night, honestly. She won the whole night. Like that with Money in the Bank was Liv Morgan's night, which is one of the reasons why I think that the whole pay-per-view as a whole was great. Was just like I can't even imagine what Vince McMahon would have had to like show up and do something, I think, for it to have been tainted for me. But after Liv's wins, both wins. But so many people
I have is that besides Carmella, there's not really been a women's Money in the Bank winner that has held it for a while and teased it. Like, I thought that was great with Carmella. She'd come out at random points with it, and like, I like the mind games with Money in the Bank. But after that, I mean,
well, I mean, Asuka didn't have a chance to do that because Becky had been injured. Well, not injured. She was bringing out a baby. So she didn't have the like that one is just a wash, honestly.
like Alexa cashed in the same night, Liv's cashed in the same night. Becky was pregnant, so obviously you couldn't do anything there. But I would have liked to see Liv keep it for a little bit. Like,
I mean, I'm not upset of how it went down because it worked so well, and I think it's better for her to be on SmackDown because I think SmackDown needs more of the star power.
oh, they're not even doing the brand split anymore. It's a brand split on paper to keep the networks happy because every week there's people from both shows like, oh, we have so and so from Raw tonight on. I think effectively the brand split's done, but because the networks want a brand split, they still pretend it exists.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm unhappy that she cashed in or won it, but I'd like to see like one of the women keep it longer. And
yeah, I'm hoping next year that they do.
I think could have worked the same if she cashed in at SummerSlam, like kept it until like at least then, and like that could have still worked and been a big moment for her. That whatever guy, who was it? Oh yeah, Theory. He's probably gonna hold it for a while. Like he's probably gonna have it for some time because especially when they're a heel. Like,
yeah, heels tend to have the briefcase longer. It's definitely something that I've noticed, which makes sense of the taunting and.
Yeah, I think Money in the Bank lends itself a lot better to a heel winner normally. Like I don't mind when a babyface wins. It's nice to see that every once in a while. But I think that the briefcase definitely works better for a heel because you get those taunts and like, oh, their music plays and oh, I'm not cashing in yet, and like the mind games for months, and then when the cash in does happen, like Seth's at WrestleMania is still the best one that will ever happen, I think. I don't know. I just want that moment for one of the women, not the same night cash in. I want a total surprise, like you didn't see it coming months away, because now it's getting to the point with the women where I'm expecting it by the end of the night, and I don't want to expect it.
Yeah. I mean, and it's funny because they had like Liv addressed that about how, like, you know, she was looking forward to hanging on to it for a while. Blah, blah, blah. So she threw us off the scent earlier in the night, and then when the music hit, I was like, is she actually going to cash in? Like, Rhonda's not that down. And I also really love that Rhonda did take and sell it, because when the music hit, like she says like, oh shit or something as Liv's coming out. Um, but yeah, Liv is one of those. You saw all these tweets from wrestlers across the board just sending all this love towards Liv, and the last time I really remember seeing that is when Big E won. Somebody else who was super deserving of it. God, I miss that man. I hope he feels better.
Yeah, I've been hearing that there's a chance that he might not wrestle again, that he might be healed but might not be able to wrestle, and that
I
oh,
mean, one that's in the beginning. Like it's a hard one to come back from.
yeah, that would be heartbreaking, because he was really just hitting like megastar status, like singles megastar, like New Day. Yeah, they've been huge for over a decade now, but
Yeah.
he was finally getting that singles run that he should have had years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then for that injury to happen, like, just what awful timing to such a wonderful human.
Yeah. Yeah. Ew. Wrestling is scripted, not fake. And those are the moments where you wish it was fake,
Yeah. You,
honestly.
you just hate to see anyone suffer any injury, but especially one that is so devastating to
Yeah.
your career. Like that's that's that man's livelihood. And what do you fall back on after that? Most of the wrestlers, they forego like going to school because they want to wrestle. They know they want to wrestle, so
Mhm.
they like some drop out of high school to start it. Some just don't go to college. Some drop out of college. Like,
Mhm.
what do you
Well,
really fall back on?
yeah, Big E is someone who I think, even if he can't wrestle anymore, I mean, that man is great with a microphone in his hand. So, like, I think he'll still be a part of New Day. I think he'll be a manager. He's one of the people that I think WWE would take care of. Like, you know, Corey Graves is an example of someone who had a career-ending injury, and now he's a commentator, and he's a pretty good heel commentator. I know, like, we make a lot of jokes and whatnot. He did make a very dated long distance calling plan reference last night that I was like, even me, I was just like, it doesn't cost anything for long distance isn't a thing anymore, dude. Like, what a dad. What a dad.
Yeah, he's definitely become the person that makes the dated references, like Cole used to, and now it's Corey that makes the boomer references.
Which is funny because, like, Corey's not that old.
No, he's like our age. Like,
Yeah. Like, he's not an old man, but
no.
yeah, I enjoy Corey Graves and his antics and his fashion at times as well, whether it be good or just hilariously awful. Like, what are you wearing, sir? Um, so the Usos and the Street Profits also had a banger of a match, as like anyone who has eyeballs and has ever seen them wrestle knew they would. Like, they don't have even mediocre matches. Like, they're always bangers. Montez Ford did this thing where he did a dive over the one turnbuckle and ring steps. Like, it was, as he did it, I went, ah! Like, a weird noise escaped my body because I was just like, I think he can actually fly, and he is just slowly breaking us into that. by doing these things. Like, it was just flawlessly executed. I've never, like, my God, the balls it would take to do that move. Whew.
Yeah, that man gets more height than almost anyone I've ever seen. It's
I think he's a cat,
he might be.
part cat. I also didn't know that he was in the military before.
Oh, get out.
Yeah, Dawkins had said something about on Raw. I don't know if he was I can't remember if he said Marine or what, but like, yeah. Because Gable had said something, or Otis had said something about respecting this American hero, referring to Gable, and Dawkins was like, "Oh yeah, well look at this guy here."
I had no idea.
Yeah, yeah, because he doesn't have like. He seems like he has such a sweet soul. I cannot imagine that man in the military.
Right.
Yeah. Although, like, you also see during that match specifically, he kept having this very, like, serious look on his face to the point where I'm like, are they starting to turn him heel? Like, is that what we're starting to see? Like, he would get this very stern look on his face. Or was he just, like, really concentrating?
Hopefully it was just that, like, it was a big match, so they were focused and taking it seriously. I hope that maybe that's more the angle, because I don't want to see them turn heel, not anytime soon.
Yeah. If he was just like, I'm going to be yeeting myself over this, I almost said lamp post, ring post. I better like get serious and focused. So highly recommend. I know you haven't seen that match yet, right?
No, I was watching Ocarina of Time on GDQ. That was some kind of weird mod slash they broke into beta files, and it was probably one of the coolest things I've seen, and it made me almost cry at the end of it. It got a little emotional. There was definitely fan service at the end. If anybody that is listening to us is also a weird gamer and watched GDQ, they know what I'm talking about. It made my heart happy because Zelda's one of my favorite. Well, it is my favorite franchise, like video game wise, as you could tell by the Omega shirt that I got that's Zelda themed. Yeah, I didn't watch all of Money in the Bank like Sabrina did. It's well established for anyone that has been listening to us for a while that I am a gamer nerd, and SGDQ is a big event every year, and it was with people, and it happened to be the Mario night, and I follow a lot of Mario Twitch streamers, and there was 2 relay races, and there was also the Ocarina of Time, which was my second favorite Zelda game. I chose that over Money in the Bank, except for the 2 Money in the Bank matches. So I saw the women's match. I saw
the cash in because I was like, get on the channel. What are you doing?
I definitely saw the cash in, and we saw the men's Money in the Bank match, and then otherwise we were watching SGDQ.
Yeah. It's definitely worth going back and rewatching that the Street Profits versus the Usos. It was a banger. The men's match, I was surprised that Almost did as well as he did in that match. As far as Theory being added in, I wouldn't have been as mad had he always been in that match. And had they not, they made me think, and I think a lot of people think, that someone was either coming back from injury or debuting, like with how they set that up, which is not fair to Theory. I mean, yeah, I guess it got more heat on him, but like not necessarily the right kind of heat.
Now he's gonna start getting X-Pac heat soon. Like,
don't get me started on X-Pac.
oh, we've already covered him thoroughly on this podcast.
Yeah. I hope rehab straightened him out, but yeah, hopefully, like, yeah, I wish they had just done that differently. Like, it was Theory being added wasn't shocking, But the fact that they made us think that it was going to be somebody else, fuck you. Like, I don't know how else to put that. Like, I was just,
When his music hit, I went, fuck, he's winning this.
yeah, it gave it away.
And Brian goes, I don't think they're going to have him win it. And I go, he's fucking winning this. And then he won it. And I just kind of like gave a look. And I'm like, I can't. Because oh my God, they're going to let him win one of those belts, aren't they? He's going to win one of those belts off of Roman.
He might. I don't know. They still might be holding out for, why is my, Cody. Like, it depends on how long they want Theory to hold it. Hopefully, like, ideally, Cody will be the one that wins the first belt. Like, and that seems forever away. And I don't necessarily want Roman to maintain having that belt that long. But if the payoff is Cody Rhodes getting it, I will grit my teeth and bear it.
I think they're going to let him win one of them. I honestly do.
I'd rather that than have him like Cody win and then have him cash in immediately on Cody, because I would spit venom.
Well, there's 2 belts.
I know. Yeah.
So, I mean, Cody can still win one of them off of Roman. Because I feel like the contract would probably be just for one of the belts, not both of them.
Yeah. It would be for one. I would imagine.
God, they're going to let him win a title.
Yeah.
Oh, it makes me sick. Like,
yeah, there's a thing talking about how like the stick is that they want, that Vince wants him to be the youngest of everything, because he's already saying that, just like, pushing Randy Orton aside. And I mean, it's fine to like, records are made to be broken. But man, I love Randy Orton.
yeah, I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it. I wanted Seth to win it, to be honest. You can't go wrong with Seth.
Seth doesn't need that briefcase to have a match with Roman.
But still, he's such a slimy heel right now. Imagine how fun that would be with him coming out dancing with the briefcase, and like it, not even just the match, like the whole having the briefcase thing would have been so entertaining. Like it would have been great. And you can't go wrong with the Roman and Seth match because they're so good, like such good friends, and people that are really good friends have great matches.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just I would have took Sammy. Like Sammy would have been funny. Like
that would have been iconic. Like, especially with the whole like, I'm not going to cash in on you, right? And then when he eventually turns, like
exactly, like that would have been great. Like there's so many other better angles that they could have went with. That oh god, I hate that they went with Theory. Like why are they pushing him so hard? I don't understand it.
I mean, he's a very talented individual who I wanted to win and I knew wasn't going to, but I wanted it, was Sheamus. I'm always pulling for Sheamus. Always. I'm always in the Sheamus corner. And I know I'm one of the few people standing there, and that's okay. I was a test fan after all.
I wouldn't have been okay with Sheamus. I feel like his days are past. Like
No.
He gets hurt too much. He doesn't move as quick as he used to. It wouldn't be a fun title run. I mean, I would have been okay with anybody but like Theory, Omos, or Sheamus winning that briefcase. Anybody else would have been fine.
If Sheamus had won that, there would have been no living with me. Like, yeah. There just wouldn't have been. I would have been obnoxious. But I was really concerned that Sheamus, I think he might have a concussion, quite honestly, from when he caught that boot in that, not even boot, it was like a leg. He caught a leg like right on top of his head. But in general, the men's match was really good, really entertaining. Again, like it was a lot of strong competitors. there was no one that I was like, oh, this person definitely isn't getting it, other than maybe Sheamus.
Almost.
I was scared that he was going to get it. I was terrified that he would win that thing.
I didn't think he would. I honest to God didn't think that they were going to do that. I think they know better. He's definitely way too green. Like there's
I
no.
was talking. God, who was it? I was talking to somebody or like overhearing someone, and they like him as a wrestler, and I was like, oh God, am I on an island of people who don't think he's good? Is it like me and Megan, Nam and Brian, and like everybody else is a big fan of his? Am I missing that?
No.
I was like, no, I don't think so. No.
No, that person's on an island by themselves because I don't know anyone that thinks that Omos is a good wrestler.
Right. Like, oh, they were just like singing his praises, and I was like, you mean MVP? Is that who you're talking about? You mean MVP?
Right?
I get that. You know, I'd be fine if MVP won the Money in the Bank contract. Actually, that would be horrible, but you know, it would be something.
Yeah,
It would be something.
it'd be a swerve.
It would. Let's see. But I mean, overall, I really enjoyed Money in the Bank. Again, though, it would have taken a lot to like tank it for me once Liv won. And the fact that that move she did where she got pushed and then bounced off the rope with the ladder and back, ma'am, that was good.
She was the MVP of that match. Like she had the coolest spots. I think that Liv
Pay-per-view.
She definitely was the best in that match, and it's very rare that the person that performs the best in a Money in the Bank match gets the briefcase too.
Yeah.
I'm glad that happened. She seems like a very nice person, like a nice human, like personally outside of wrestling. She seems like she's a doll.
Mm-hmm.
And she seems like she's very passionate for what she does. I love seeing people that love what they do get rewarded. I think like, nice people that love what they do getting a reward that they deserve.
Yeah, and she's someone that I very much so identify with her story. Like her dad died when she was very, very young. And she was like one of 6 kids raised by a single mom. She didn't go on a vacation. Her and her mom had never been on a family vacation together. And the Bellas actually brought they took a bunch of the girls on a trip, and you know, Liv had told them about that, how like, you know, never got to do anything like that with her mom, and they brought her mom out. Like they paid to bring her mom out, and like, yeah, the Bellas, you know, might not have the best history inside the squared circle, but they seem like decent human beings. But yeah, I very much so identify with Liv's story of like growing up with nothing and like having to fight for everything you have type thing, and being like being I'm one of 7 kids, so I also understand that I'm the youngest of them. So all very relatable content for me.
Yeah, I'm happy for her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what a wholesome night of wrestling in that. That's what I'd say.
Nothing wrong with a little wholesome.
Yeah.
Need it sometimes.
Agreed. Yes. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't gotten through all of Raw, which is upsetting because I'm definitely looking forward to the Becky versus Asuka. I think it's a no holds barred match. Barred? No, barred. Right? No holds barred.
I didn't see it. And I
Match
don't
at the end of-
what the hell did we watch instead? No,
Well,
hold.
it was
Yeah.
on the 4th of July, so I thought my brain was not processing that was Monday. My brain was like, this is second Sunday, not Monday.
We had on parts of it. I remember we kept flipping back and forth between something. I don't know. At that point, I was so in pain from sunburn, and my friend who's a nurse brought me down a care package of stuff for the sunburn. I kept telling her, I'm like, it's like a war zone down here. Don't come down. Like, everybody's out. There's all kids everywhere. People are drinking. I'm like, it's fine. You don't have to come down. She came down anyway. Just came to my door, gave me my stuff, said I love you, and left. Like,
Yeah.
she brought me down, like, after sun lotion, Benadryl, some other pill that was like an antihistamine thing that like an ER doctor told her to take once when she had a bad sunburn, and just gave me this whole thing. She's like, here you go. So I was Benadrylled up, and I don't remember a lot of what happened. I know we didn't watch the women's match, like Becky and
Oscar.
I saw Liv doing her little thing in the ring. We saw that AJ and the Miz were having yet another match, and we turned it off immediately because we said we weren't watching another Miz match. And I think that's all. Saw some backstage bullshit where Tozawa won a hot dog eating contest and laughed my ass off at the look on his face. Did you see that?
Oh, yeah.
Just the like smug look on him was hilarious.
I
And
love Tozawa.
yeah, I like him. And then I was on Benadryl and was like half falling asleep, and I don't remember a lot else.
Yeah, I think I just have basically the Asuka versus Becky match, which I'm very excited for to watch. I just haven't had time, unfortunately, and I plan on doing that today or tomorrow. So because it's Rampage tonight, or not Rampage, but Dynamite tonight. Wrestling. It is wrestling tonight. That is what's happening.
It's always wrestling.
It's like, look, there are 4 different wrestling shows that happen every week, and all of them have a different name. Sometimes I get my wires crossed.
It happens. It definitely happens.
Yeah. It's not called Dark. That's all that I know. But I think we have covered everything. Expressed our joy, our frustrations, mostly at other fans, which tracks. I think one of the biggest problems with wrestling are wrestling fans.
I mean, to be fair, that happens in a lot of fandoms. I mean, there's toxic, like, there's toxic Potter fans, there's toxic Star Wars, there's toxic Marvel, there's toxic wrestling.
You know what? There's not toxic. There's not toxic Buffy fans.
I wouldn't know.
I have never met another Buffy fan that I did not like. I've had friendships started based on Buffy, but I've never met someone who was into Buffy and a complete dickbag. I'm sure I will meet them tomorrow now that I've said this, but I actually, my freshman year of college, my English professor, she had made a Buffy reference in class, like the first week or something. And I went up to her after class and I was like, I have a weird question. Are you a vegetarian? And she went, yes. How do you know that? And I was like, well, you have smart water and you made a Buffy reference. And those 2 things put together told me you're a vegetarian. And she went, what? I was like, at that time, you only found smart water in like health food sections of stores or mostly health food stores. So she would have to be there. And also the Buffy thing. I don't know. Like they tied together in my brain. And I was right. That's the thing. Like I sensed it.
That's funny.
So I now have a theory that if you're a Buffy fan and drink smart water, you don't eat meat. I've yet to be proved wrong, and it's been a long time. I don't want to do the math.
Well, if you want to prove her wrong, make a comment and suplex that like button and subscribe.
Exactly. You can comment, suplex, all of that. And we will see you next week. And remember, hustle, loyalty, and respect.
Yeah.
Love you.